We love to interview people who've had transformations with their rheumatoid arthritis because it's so inspiring and it's so insightful as we learn lessons from them. And today I've got Therese. She's from regional New South Wales, which is a state here in Australia. And she not only has a transformational story of herself, but also her son. And so we're going to learn about how she helped her son whilst the two of them both have rheumatoid arthritis. And together they transformed their health. And Therese is going to talk about how she never went on traditional pharmaceuticals and how she lives in very little symptoms these days. Welcome, Therese.
Hello, how are you, Clint?
I'm really, really happy that we have set
Um,
this up because we've
yeah,
been in touch over email a few times.
we
And I
have.
said, you have to tell your story because it's just going to be so exciting. And I don't know, I know very little of it because I don't want to. I want you to
Yeah.
tell us, first of all, give us a before and after to set the scene.
Well, when I was, originally my son in about 2004, he was age 3. He was diagnosed with rheumatoid after a few just swelling of his knees after swimming. And I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. I wonder what that is. But then it was on a weekend. By the time it came to Monday to take him to the doctor, it had settled down. And I thought, okay. And then one morning he got up and he literally couldn't walk because his knees were so inflamed. So off to the doctor, got the diagnosis of rheumatoid, and then started the trips to Melbourne to rheumatologists and all sorts of anesthetics and plasters on his legs. And it was a very acute, came on really quickly, and watched him go from an active little 3-year-old to having to carry him into childcare and put him on a chair. So that was awful. And I thought, what kind of future is he looking at, So I did a deep dive into anything I could. Like, we changed our diet, we went all organic, got rid of preservatives, did all sorts of things, and we managed to keep a lid on it. It'd sort of pop up every 18 months or so. And then when he got to about 14, then I was diagnosed with rheumatoid. And it was also a very acute onset for me. Like, I one night after work, I had a bit of a sore shoulder, and I thought, what done? I thought, I feel like I've pulled a muscle or something. And over a period of a few hours, it went from a little bit sore to I can't hold my arm up. I was holding up my arm to brush my teeth. And so I went to ED the next day, and they said, oh, you've irritated your rotator cuff. Come back in a few days if it's still there, and we'll do an ultrasound. And it went away, and I was good for about 2 weeks. And then it came back again. But then it went from my shoulder to my other shoulder to my wrists and my hip, all in about 3 days. So I went off to the GP, had some bloods done, and she checked for all sorts of things, and it came back with, oh, I think you might have rheumatoid. So we set up an appointment at a rheumatologist for a few months' time, and I started to think, okay, how am I going to deal with this? And it was horrible because I never knew where it was going to be. I'd wake up in the morning and it could have been in my arm, so I couldn't drive the car. It could have been in my hip, so I couldn't walk, and it was awful. And then I remembered seeing a post about the Paddison Program, and I told Sam about it. Sam's my son, and he'd said to me, "Oh, look, Mum, I'm not really interested in that." And so I said, "All right, well, So I looked into it, bought the program, and I actually started doing it in reverse. Like, I can't even remember how you do it in reverse, but I know that I started it in reverse. Like, obviously, probably taking the easy way out, thinking, "Oh, yeah, this will be, I'll do it the easy way." But after doing it for 3 or 4 weeks, nothing was improving. It was actually getting worse. And I thought, okay, this is, it's getting serious now. And my 6-year-old, one day I was trying to get dressed in the morning, and she came in and said, "I'll help you, Mummy." And I thought, what's happening here? Like, I'm getting my 6-year-old to help me get dressed. This is very backwards, and I was 43, and I thought, okay, is this what my life is going to be now? Like not being able to dress myself. So I said, all right, got to get serious. So I started to do the program properly. And the day that I started it, I couldn't open my mouth because my jaw was like, even to talk, it was like it had catch me. Like, and I remember going out for coffee with my mum and dad and the day that I started the program, and my dad said to me, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? And I said, well, it has to, because I can't keep going on like this. And so within literally, like, I was still at work as a theatre nurse. Like, I worked in operating theatres as a scrub scout. So it was a very physical job. Like, I used my hands, like, was always walking long distances. So I was still working while I started the program. And within 7 days, I managed to go from not being able to figure out what was going to be like when I got up in the morning to, oh my God, I can actually walk. And I got up one morning after day 6, and the day before I'd been at work, and I was having trouble walking because the theatre complex is massive, and I was taking a trolley around and I had to keep stopping because my hip was just so tired and sore. When I got up the next morning, I was expecting it to be really sore again. And I got up, and I remember I was almost like dancing on the way to the bathroom going, oh my God, it's not sore. Like thinking something, it's going to get sore in a minute. It's going to get sore in a minute. But it didn't. And I thought, oh my God, it's actually like I'm having really good results here. Like, and I stuck to it, like really followed it to a T. And so it was actually, that was a Wednesday. And on the Thursday, I had my appointment at the rheumatologist in Melbourne. And my aim in my mind was I have to get this under control before I get there. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought that's what I want to be able to do. And so I did. I was able to get to Melbourne. I'd been dreading that week because I'd had 2 10-hour shifts, and then I had a big drive to Melbourne. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. But I did. And I got to the rheumatologist, and he said to me, and even I'd been having such good results, and I thought, he'll be so excited. He'll be so pleased. And he said to me, you won't do this with diet. He said, we've tried this and you won't do it. I'm telling you, if you go that way, he said, you're crazy. And I thought, great, what do I do now? I thought, he's given me a script for methotrexate. So I'm at this fork in the road of, okay, like, he's telling me I'm being like, silly, and I'm having these good results. So what am I going to do? And it was really lucky because Sam actually came with me to that appointment because he had an appointment at his rheumatologist the next day. And so he was with me, and it became a bit of a blur after he said to me, here's your script. You can't do this without drugs. You must go on these by Sunday. You have to start taking it. And I thought, oh man, this is a really big, this is a big decision, And so I left in tears because I thought I was, doing so well. And we went out for tea that night, and Sam said to me, because he could see that I was upset, and he said, Mum, just have a night off the program. Just have whatever you want for tea. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I said, I'm sticking to it. And, I said, I'm having results, and I'm not going to turn around now. And so I thought, okay, I have to make this decision of, do I do what he says and take these drugs, or do I, go, because I'm having good results, keep going on this path? And I thought, I'm going to keep going on this path. And it was actually the next day after that appointment was when I first emailed you, because I hadn't actually signed up to the support group. I just was doing the program. And I emailed you and I said, I've been dealing with rheumatoid for 15 years. How do I know that what you're going to tell me is not, because I needed a little bit of extra reassurance, I suppose, like being told by this doctor, no, you're not going to do it that way. And you said to me, look, just get rid of that rheumatologist, go and see James Burtouch, is it, in Randwick? And so I did that and went and saw him, and the comparison between those two guys was unbelievable. He was the total opposite, supported everything that I did. And it was a month between seeing the first one, or 2 months actually, and then seeing him in Randwick. And I was still having good results. And he said, wow, isn't the human body amazing? He said, I have a few clients who do the Paddison program, and he said, they're not all as successful as what you are, but he said, you're nailing it. He said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And, and he said, I'll see you again in 6 months. And probably a bit naughty, I've never actually gone back to him. I've never been back to see a rheumatologist since, but I don't really feel that I've needed to, because for about 3 years, I was incredibly strict, just did, I added new things in, but I was very careful about what I ate. I made sure I did my exercise, and I wasn't an exercise freak. Like, I did my 30 minutes of sweat-inducing exercise, whether it was a walk or a treadmill or on the bike or the elliptical trainer out the back, and did it religiously. And it's paid off, because, I'm now in a very good place, and riding my bike, hiking, doing everything that I want to do, and it doesn't stop me from doing anything really. So and yeah, so I'm extremely grateful and very glad that I sent you that email that day, and got on the support group. And while I needed those early days of support just to keep me on track, I've never looked back, and I've never had to go on those the pharmaceuticals. And yeah, I'm a turmeric only girl. That's it. That's my staple. And I don't even take that all the time. Like, I only have that,
Right.
if I have a bit of a niggle or something. So yeah, it's all going really well. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, you have been steady for a long time too, haven't you? This
I
isn't
have, yeah.
this isn't like like a lot of our interviewees. Often they've come off methotrexate, say 6 months ago, and now that's like here they are, and it's like almost like a new sort of homecoming or whatever you like. But
Yeah,
you've just cranked this out from day one,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just held yourself at an acceptable
yeah.
level of symptom control.
I have had flare-ups when I've been testing things, like especially gluten. I discovered that was a really big trigger for me, and that's probably given me some of the biggest flare-ups that I've had. So if one thing I regret is not having a scope to see, like a gastroscope, to see whether I've got diagnosed with celiac or not. But the thought of having to eat it for 6 to 8 weeks to get a good result from the scope, I just don't think I could put myself through it. So, I've got a Hashimoto's diagnosis as well, and not having gluten goes along with that. So I just don't have it. I eat like I'm a celiac. So if I was going to recommend anything to anyone, is if you think you're sensitive or you might have celiac, is to, before you go off it, have a scope, and then one way or the other whether you need to, avoid it or not. But which I did with Sam when he started having a few issues after having wheat and things. And so I said, well, don't go off it. We'll get a gastroscope done, and then we'll know. So you know one way or the other. So
Great.
and he didn't have it, but thank goodness. But yeah, but he still avoids gluten as well.
Tell us the Sam story, and then I want the family collective wisdom around, like, managing this, maintaining wellness, lifestyle techniques, supplements that you take, if any, time that you go to bed, how much outdoor sunshine you get. I wanna basically tap into all of the maintenance level, health maintaining routines that you have.
Yeah.
Firstly, tell us, Sam's story. How is he doing? What was his journey? Did he do the program too?
He did. He did do the program. He was about 14 or so when I was diagnosed, and I'd originally told him about the Paddison program because I think I saw it come up in my news feed. And so I mentioned it to him. This is before I was diagnosed, and he was having a few problems with his ankle. Like he just started working, and his ankle was giving him a bit of grief. And I said to him, look, I've seen this program. I said, maybe you should give it a try. And he said, Mum, when, if he said, when someone comes and tells you to eat vegan or to eat a certain way to control it, he said, you just want to punch him in the face. He said, I can't do it. Like I'm not, I just, the one thing that I can enjoy is my food. And he said, I'm not going to, change it. And then later on, like within probably 6 or 12 months, I was diagnosed and I brought it up again. I said, well, what about this Paddison program? And he said, if you do it and it works, then I'll do it. And I went, okay, fair deal. So yeah, I did it and it was successful. And he said, righto. And he's still, to this day, he's still maintains his like if he has a bit of a niggle or I wouldn't say we have flare-ups, but we have things that, well, it's more, I call it more of a warning sign where it might be like a finger joint and it's usually the same place where you think, oh, hello, something's going on here. I need to, focus on what I'm doing. And he's the same. Then if it's, well, enough, we'll go back and literally go back onto the basic diet for a week or two and then go, okay, we'll get it under control and then start to, bring back in our other foods again. And he still does that too. Like I actually had to do that just last week because I'd been away on a trip to Melbourne and I got some little muesli packets and they were gluten-free muesli packets and they didn't have peanuts because I can't have peanuts. And so I thought, oh, these are nice. And so when I came home, I found it in the supermarket and I was having it like every day. And then after about a week, I thought, oh, my elbow's a bit sore. And then after another couple of days, I can't straighten my elbow properly. I thought, what's going on here? And I thought, what have I changed? Like, what have I done that's different? And I thought, I wonder if it's that muesli that I've been having. Like, and I read the ingredients again and I thought, well, it looks all right. But there was a few things in there that might have had a bit more like vegetable oil, like sultanas and things like that I would normally have. And I thought, well, maybe it's that. So I went back to baseline, buckwheat, quinoa, salads, juice for at least 4 days and then calmed it all down. And I'll leave that muesli in the cupboard and somebody else can eat it. But yeah, so we if we have any issues, always straight back to baseline. And I'm a bit of a slow reactor. So like I don't eat something and then 6 hours or 12 hours later I get pain. I'm more of it could take up to a week before I actually experience any joint pain. So it can be a bit, like of a hit and miss trying to work out what it is. But because I'm so like there are so many things that I don't eat that I can usually manage to pin it down. But it took a fair while to work out that I did take so long to react. And in the early days, I did have a food diary and I would write down everything that I ate and what pain I was having. And so it was only in hindsight when I would go back like 6 or 12 months later and read those food diaries and think, and I would have written in there, oh, I ate this and then got that reaction. And I'd think it actually wasn't that. It was something that I'd eaten a week ago. So, it can take years to sort of really nut down what you can and you can't have. And, like I'll have a sneaky coffee here and there, but it's not something that I think, oh, probably, I probably shouldn't have it, but it's a managed thing. And it's like going out for dinner. You don't do it all the time. And for a long time, I didn't eat out at all. Like if I was going out somewhere or if I did go out, I'd have a green salad, like with, just nothing on it. And everyone would be like, oh, that's a bit boring. What are you having that for? And I was always that person like, oh, can you not put dressing on the salad? Like, but I thought it's just not worth it to be any other way, I had a funny experience once. I went out to a restaurant in, I won't say exactly where, but it was a very prominent restaurant. And my friend was so excited, like to take me out. Like I hadn't been to Sydney for a while. And so we went out to this restaurant and she had a nice pasta carbonara or something. And I was looking on the menu and I said, oh, there's not a lot there. I can't really there's not a lot for me to have. And I said, oh, I'll just get the green salad. And she said, okay, righto. So I got the green salad. It was literally a bowl of lettuce. There was nothing else in it. There was no onion, no tomato, no cucumber. It was just, and I took a photo of it because I thought this is like a really hoity-toity restaurant, and I've got a bowl of lettuce for my dinner. And I said to the man, the waiter, I said, do you think I could just have a slice of lemon to squeeze on there? And so she's enjoying her pasta and I was eating my lettuce. But I was quite happy to eat my lettuce because I thought, I've got to enjoy my day and I'm not going to have ramifications down the track of having something that might give me grief. So it's like, I don't see it as a sacrifice, really. Like, people say, how do you do it? How are you so disciplined? But I just, like, there's no it's a choice, but it's like, it's I don't know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's like that's what I do, like, because the alternative is just not acceptable. So, the discipline is worth it, so I can go and be with my kids and do the things that I want to do. When Lewis, my 16-year-old, says, Mum, do you want to come for a bike ride? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, we're going to Thredbo in 6 weeks to go mountain biking. So, I'm going to have a mountain bike lesson and I'm going to hopefully not kill myself going down the mountain. But I would rather eat a bowl of lettuce and go mountain biking than, not be able to do those things. So, yeah, it's all worth it, 100%.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I just got goosebumps
Yeah.
when you said you go on the Thredbo to do mountain biking, because although Australia is not famous for large mountains and so on,
Yeah.
let's just say that mountain biking in Thredbo, it's not for the
Not for the
faint-hearted.
faint-hearted. Yeah.
No, I mean, for anyone who's not aware, we're talking about, that's the ski resort of Australia during
Yep.
winter. So what
Yep.
people do who are very athletic and adventurous is go there
Yeah. Yep.
to when the snow's not there in the summer and
Yeah.
come down the mountain on their
Going to
bikes.
be amazing. This is our 4th year in a row, and this is my first year mountain biking there. But Lewis has been the last 3 years, and the last 2 years I've done the last 3 years I've done the walk up to Kosciuszko with the kids, and which is a fairly rigorous hike up there, 12 k's up and back, and yeah, it's all. And so this year I'm going to tackle the mountain bikes, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, that is sensational.
Yeah.
A word of caution here. I came off a mountain bike one time coming down in exactly the same way,
Yeah.
a mountain in Colorado during its summer when we were
Mm.
visiting my wife's friends who lived there. And I was just trying to keep up with her
Yeah.
friend's husband, who was extremely experienced at this.
Yeah.
And me being competitive, and at this point, although with rheumatoid, feeling just determined, just
Yeah.
trying to keep on his back wheel.
Yeah.
And then I came off and my head hit the ground very hard and I
Ow.
got quite bad concussion.
Oh no.
And yeah, it kind of was awful because that night I
Yeah.
just it was a friend's wedding. I just sat in the corner at the
Yeah.
wedding and
Yeah.
just wanted to sit by myself at the wedding. And Melissa said, "What is wrong with him?"
Yeah.
Because it's
Oh
just so
no.
unlike me. So anyway,
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
have a wonderful time. Wear a
Yes.
helmet
I'll
and
be
don't
having a
check
lesson.
its back wheel. Just put space
Yeah.
between you and the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'll be on the green runs.
good, 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 good. Therese, your life with rheumatoid arthritis is extremely different to most people's who are
Yeah.
struggling from drug to drug, trying to find something that works for their symptoms and
Yeah.
something that doesn't give them terrible side effects.
Yeah.
And it's a frequent sort of on that treadmill of struggle. So what is it what does your life look like? What does your day look like? What time do you go to bed? Just walk us through a day in the life of Therese
Yep.
and what you feel are key to maintaining your health at this level.
Well, I probably get up about 7 in the morning, and I I work as a independent support worker, so I have clients that I go out and see, and I don't always exercise first thing in the morning because I go to the gym with my clients. So I'll have my brekkie in the morning and have my I do have a sneaky coffee, like I was saying. I always put some food with it. I have like a few different mueslis. Like I've been branching out a bit, and as I was saying before, one of them's tripped me up, but I've moved on from that one. So I have that with some fruit, and then I'll go to the gym with my client. Do at least 30 minutes on a treadmill, sometimes an hour on the treadmill. Like I'll use the stair machine, not racing, just plodding along. I'll do some strength exercises on the circuit just to keep up my muscle, my muscle strength. And I do sometimes with another client, I'll go hiking. So we'll go up to the Snowy Mountains and do like a 10K hike or something through the day. And, I'll just take a muesli bar in my pocket and
you're
yeah,
unstoppable. You are unstoppable. This
we
is
having a great time.
Like, how does RA have a chance against you with this? I mean, I say the fitter you are, the less symptoms you have, right? And we can take that to an extreme.
You have to move. Like if there's one thing, when I was really unwell, I did notice, even when it was really painful, as you move more through the day, they do free up. So I learned early on, you got to move. You can't just sit there and go, oh, it's going to hurt if I move. Like, you have to keep moving. It's just, there's sitting in a chair is just not going to cut it. So the more, I used to get excited when I could lift my arm up and open the cupboard. By the end of the day, I'd think, oh, great. Like, whereas in the morning, I'd be lifting up my arm to, So, movement is key. And I know with the 7 o'clock at the night time, not eating after that, I've always struggled with that. And before, when I was working in theatres, I was a shift worker. So I often didn't get home until 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then I've got kids, to do dinners and all that sort of thing. And so I did struggle with that. I tried as best I could to do it. Like sometimes if I was on call, you'd get home at 1 or 2 in the morning and I'd think, I have to eat something. I can't not eat something. So there are always, things that we do that don't 100% align with it, but you do what works for you at the time. And I try to go to bed at 11 or so. I try to get my 8 hours sleep. It's I've got puppies at the moment that like to get me up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, but other than that, I'm past the baby stage. Now I'm on to the fur baby stage. There's just no getting a full night's sleep. But yeah, I try, like last week when I was saying I had that problem with my elbow, I first thing I did was go out on the exercise bike and set it up, and I hadn't been on it for a little while, and I went, right, just got to get in there, got to work up that sweat, and now my elbow's good. I can straighten my elbow and it's all good. But straight on it. As soon as I have, a symptom, then I'm like, righto, yeah. So I'm actually in between houses at the moment. I'm building a house and not built yet, but hopefully soon. And my ex-husband and I are living in the same house with the kids, and I'm building another house on acres so the kids won't have to go backwards and forwards. And I've forgotten what I was going to say now. It's gone out of my head. But, that's right. He didn't have a rice steamer like I had at my other house where Sam's living, at my other house. He has the rice steamer. And so John's got some other fandangled rice cooker thing. And I said, oh, I don't know how to use that. And he said, I'll go and get you your rice cooker. So I went, got the $15 rice cooker, put the buckwheat and the quinoa and the sweet potatoes, and he was like all over it saying, whatever you need, we'll just, get on top of it. And I've got him on the buckwheat and quinoa too now. So he's like, oh, could I have some of that? So yeah, it's good. The kids are like, oh no, not again. But but yeah, it's a family affair. Like it's all, yeah.
Right. I interrupted you basically to give you a medal and an award to just say like your lifestyle from a physical point of view is just so tremendous. Like
Yeah,
I admire that so much. I I envy that you're going mountain biking in
yeah,
Thredbo. That is the pinnacle of living
yeah,
this life with this condition.
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
it's being as athletic and as
Yeah,
expressing the physical abilities of your body at the highest level. That is
yeah,
disease defiance. Okay.
yes,
Now,
yes,
now, but I cut you off. You were talking about going through your typical day. And what I want to hear, especially, is what sort of meals you might have in the evening. And are you taking any supplements? Do
yeah,
you do any mindfulness stuff, quiet, peaceful
yeah.
reflections or anything?
I can't say I do a lot of mindfulness things. I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose like I like to paint, like I think I was talking about that before. I've discovered that recently. Um,
Mhm.
I suppose you could call that mindful, like it's something I like to do. And I'm a weaver, like I have quite a few big weaving looms, like, and so that's something else that I like to do, which is also quite physical, doing the weaving. I don't take any supplements at all. I mean, apart from a little bit of vitamin D and K sometimes, and I have an ongoing issue with my iron levels being low, so I do supplement with my iron, not every day, but I do try and do that regularly. And if I do have any aches or pains, I'll take turmeric. But I never touch Nurofen anymore. Never touch Panadol. Never like. I just would rather. I mean, when I was really unwell, nothing touched the pain anyway. So I thought, this, what's the point? So when I have the pain, if like I haven't had a bad flare up for quite a few years, but when I do have pain, I just ride it through. And yeah, so no supplements other than those ones I mentioned. And we eat at home plant based. Like I for years I was I was vegan, very much so. And then last year I took a client for a week to the Great Ocean Road. Don't know if you've ever done the Great Ocean Road for a week. And there's lots of dairies and there's lots of cheese factories. And so I had a moment where I went, oh, I'll just have a little bit. And it's so easy to, it's a slippery slope, Clint, I'll tell you what. And so I ended up bringing home big wheels of cheese, and I thought, this is so wrong. This is like from every angle, like it's just, and so that was a bit of a fall off the wagon for a few months, but we're like, that's no, there's no more of that now. We've done that, that's gone, and we're very much a plant-based household. I when we go out, the kids often want to have, you know, what they want to have, and I let them do that when we're out, but I don't have I mean, we might have sometimes butter and eggs at home, but even I don't really like them having that either. But then I want them to make decisions because they're making the decision, not because I'm forbidding it. Whereas if I say, no, you're not having that, then they're just going to go and do it somewhere else. So I figure if I teach them what to do, then they will eventually make the right decision, you know? So, um,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Sometimes, the heavy-handed just breeds rebelliousness, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. Yeah.
As opposed to a collective sort of team effort towards eating healthily,
Yeah.
firstly for mum and for Sam,
Yeah.
and then also because they
Yeah.
have what they should understand, a predisposition towards
Yes.
autoimmunity.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
right.
whilst you don't want to impart a never-ending fear in them about getting the disease, you
They
want them
need
to
that
be aware
awareness.
that they
Yeah.
have, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and so evening meals, have you got recipe books from not just us,
Um,
but have you purchased like forks
I
over
have
knives and all of these
like
recipes?
I have forks over knives. I have all of Michael Greger's books. I
Yep,
follow like them all on social media. I get recipes
yep,
from everywhere, really.
yep.
A
It's
lot of
easy, isn't it?
my Yeah, like a lot of
Yeah,
my cookbooks from before or things that I'd been making for years, I just veganized them. Just, you know, take out the meat, put in, you know, lentils or I mean, I'll sometimes use a plant-based meat, which are not like they're not ideal, but for the kids' sake, you'd sometimes use those. But Yeah, I don't use oil in my cooking at all. Instead of putting oil in a pan, I'll just use a bit of water. And yeah, we're pretty much very much plant-based. So I don't cook something for them and something for me. We all have the same, like, and they're quite okay with that. Like they might sort of go, "Oh, are we having dal again?" But like I try and mix it up and change it up, and John's always been on board with the vegan. He's vegan as well, so yeah, he does sort of different styles, I suppose you'd call it, than what I do, and between the two of us, like he made some killer Thai food the other night. He's just really good, that real zingy. Like I said, I couldn't have got anything better from the local Thai shop. I said. So between the two of us, we have a pretty good mix of keeping it interesting for the kids and for everyone. So yeah,
And this is sort of a little bit out of nowhere, but the fact that you two are also very amicable and that he
yeah,
eats plant-based as well to support you,
yeah,
even though you aren't still in a relationship as such, a marriage relationship. I
yeah,
mean, it says a lot for the sort of anti-inflammatory, anti-antagonism. It just basically like you guys are sort of have a harmony together, just
yeah,
eating gentle foods, and it's a
yep,
gentle, it's
yeah,
beautiful,
yeah,
even though
yeah.
it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's working really well. Like at the moment, like he's up one end of the house and I'm up the other end of the house, and yeah, and the kids love it because they can just be in one central place. Like we're actually a little bit out of town, like probably about 10 minutes, whereas I was living in town previously. So, and they're getting to that age where they want to be around their friends, and so they're a bit like, oh, Mum, I really liked it being in town because we could just walk downtown and I said, "Oh, sorry about that," but but they don't have to go from house to house, so
Yeah,
that makes me happy. So yeah, they're a
wonderful.
bit more stable. Yeah.
Well done. We've got a few minutes left, so let me just ask you about Sam.
Mhm.
Did what medications did he go through? Because I'd be shocked if he wasn't put on meds throughout the early years. And what does he currently take? How is he managing it at 23 years old now? At that stage of life, I almost was in the process of creating disease, let alone trying to
Yeah.
manage it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was about 3.5 when he was diagnosed, and within 3 weeks, he was off to Melbourne to have steroid injections in his knees. He ended up with plasters on both legs because he couldn't straighten his knee. Um, and we sort of about every 12 months, like I got I mean, probably within about 12 months, I probably got quite nailed his diet down, like eliminated a lot of things, and then we were managing it quite well. And he was an amazing child. Like I used to give him concoctions of supplements that if my younger children, if I handed that to them, they'd say, "There is no way I'm having that." Like as a young toddler, and then growing up, he'd be like, "Okay, I'll have it." Like, and it's like he knew, like, "Okay, I've got to have this to, help me." But nothing was, out of the question, I mean, I remember making him a gluten-free sandwich to go to the pool and thinking, this is not nice. Like, I don't want to eat this. And I thought, my poor child but we did what we had to do, and it kept it at a manageable level. And when he was about 5, we took him to his appointment, and the rheumatologist said he was in kindergarten, first term in kindergarten, and he said, "I know you're not really keen on the pharmaceuticals, but," he said, "if these flare-ups keep happening," he said, we're gonna have to probably look at doing that." And I thought, oh no. And so we left that day with a script for methotrexate, and on the way home, because we used to have to go to Wangaratta, which is about 2.5 hours or so from where we were. The doctor would come from Melbourne, so it's halfway. And we're driving home, and John came with me that day, and I said to him, we've like, because we'd been like looking at his diet and changing things, but not really serious. And so I said to him, we have to get serious with this diet. I said, if we're going to do it, we have to do it properly. And so he had an appointment 6 months after that, and we knuckled down. And when we went to the appointment, I hadn't given him the methotrexate. And I was expecting the rheumatologist to tear strips off me off. I was actually a little bit scared going in there because I thought he's going to have a go at me for not doing this. And he actually said to me, he's doing really well. And he said, if you had have given him the methotrexate, he said, I'd be patting myself on the back right now. So I just sort of breathed out a very big sigh of relief and thought, okay, right. And he said, just keep doing it, keep doing what you're doing. We'll keep monitoring him. And, we'll just keep, as we go along, we'll just work out how he's going. And we managed to keep him quite well till he was about 14 or so, 13, 14, when it gets a bit harder to influence what your kids are going to have. And so I thought, I don't want to be too strict on him because I don't want him to end up with an eating disorder or something because I'm saying you can't eat this or you can't eat that. So I thought he's going to have to, he might have some hard lessons to learn when he does eat something that he might react. So that was when he was about 14. He had a flare up in his ankle, and he just started his first job, and he was on his feet all day at this job. And I picked him up from his work, and he was hanging on to a light pole because his leg was like, his ankle was so sore he could hardly weight bear on it. And that was when, I can't remember whether I must have had it by then, and we were due to go to Melbourne. And so I'd made him an appointment around the same time as my first appointment with my rheumatologist. And I didn't actually tell the rheumatologist that I'd been diagnosed because it was still very early stages. And I thought, I don't want him to think I'm some crazy person who's, so I thought I'll just keep that to myself. And Sam did have an aspiration that day and injection into his ankle. And he said to me, he said, we can't let things like this go. He said, you're going to have to do something. So, and that was after that Sam committed to doing the Paddison Program, and he has not looked back. He's an illustrator. He was actually homeschooled from about halfway through year 7. And so he'd started uni at about age 15, or I think it was 15, could have been 16. And he's gradually worked his way through his degree at home, and he's got a contract with an education group in New South Wales that he does illustrations for, and he's just living like a 20-something-year-old person should. He's on no medicines or anything, no pharmaceuticals, never has been, and he's like me. When he's got a niggle, he'll take some turmeric, and he said the last few months he's had a bit of his knee's been annoying him a little bit. And I said to him, you know what you have to do? And he's like, yep. He said, I'm doing the buckwheat and the quinoa. I've got my sweet potatoes. And because he's living in my house, but he's living there by himself at the moment. So he's looking after himself, and he's doing it really well. And I often think that I ended up with rheumatoid so that I could help him manage it. And as much as it's a wicked disease, it's like I don't know how people live with the pain of it continually, or I just don't know how they do it. So the fact that I've been able to educate him thanks to your program, and he's able to control it, and he's just actually repaired my old bike. And he's off riding his bike to the swimming pool, doing laps with the swimming pool. He and John go off and do laps together at the pool. And so, he's doing really, really well. Couldn't have hoped for anything better. So I'm very, very grateful that I did the program. And there was, because I remember saying to you in my first email to you, I know a lot about rheumatoid. How do I know what you're going to tell me is something that I don't already know? And I'm forever grateful that I took that step, and I've never looked back. I'm, I couldn't be happier, really. And it's funny how, as a mum with 3 or 4 young little children, you have niggles and pains and you think, oh, what's going on? And that was probably very early signs of joint issues, but you sort of think, that's just, it's just, I'm tired, I'm whatever. But in hindsight, it was bumbling along there, and it wasn't until, later on that it's reared its ugly head. And yeah, very happy to be in the place that we are now. So
You give me goosebumps over and over, Therese. It's an incredible story. Whenever I hear about children, it just digs a whole lot deeper emotionally
yeah,
for
yeah,
me than
yep,
adults.
yeah, absolutely.
And so you hit me in the heart with your story, and then it's a double hit when
Yeah,
you talk about Sam. Love to have him on the podcast too. Let's make
yeah,
that
he'd
happen.
love to come on. Yeah, he would.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
We're out of time. This has
okay.
been absolutely wonderful. So wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you
I
for having
really
me.
appreciate it. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
awesome. Thank you so much.